In 1997, Star Fox 64 was one of the first steps towards 3D gaming on home consoles. In 2026, Star Fox is just Star Fox 64 again. Why is that? This year, two of Nintendo's major releases are remakes of Nintendo 64 games. I suppose at a glance it makes sense. Ocarina of Time is, of course, a widely loved game, and, spoilers for the video ahead, Star Fox 64 is no slouch either in terms of quality, but then the question still arises. Why is Nintendo remaking these games? Other than, for money. That's what we're trying to figure out today, and while I can't answer Ocarina of Time's reasoning yet, stay tuned for that video in, like, a long time, today I will tackle pounce onto Fox McCloud and his band of hyper-real golden-hearted mercenaries to answer the question, why did they remake Star Fox? I guess a good way to start this is to understand why people make remakes in the first place. The first video game remake was... okay, I was gonna pretend like it was pointless, but then I actually looked it up, and the first remake is possibly Katakita Mario Brothers for the arcade in 1998, so it was Nintendo's fault we're in this mess now. Thanks, Miyamoto, you grinning prick. Video game remakes nowadays are known for updating the graphics, altering the gameplay, and being marketed as the new definitive way to play these classic games.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
These things are not always all applicable, but at its core, that's what a remake is. A way to do it all again, to take something old and make it new. Because while these older games are great, and play great, and sound great, in the eyes of the modern consumer, this does not hold a candle to this. So then, I think a good place to start talking about Star Fox the Remake is to go back and see how its original fares in a modern lens, meaning we will now talk about Star Fox the original. Well, not the original. Well, actually, yeah, maybe we'll start at the original. In 1993, Nintendo released Star Fox for the Super Famicom, developed by Nintendo and Argonaut Software. When you look at it compared to other SNES games, you will notice that something is unique about it. The game is magically in 3D, but it's not great looking, which makes sense. It's a 16-bit machine. You can't exactly render a whole-ass 3D model of Mario in this, not without cutting some large corners, like low frame rate, hard, rough edges on polygons, and not much detail. Because of this, Star Fox, while revolutionary, looks like, well, it looks like this. But now, look at this. Pretty big leap, right? In about 4 years, home console video games went from 16-bit to 32 and 64-bit. Massive increases that allowed for even more content, even nicer looking graphics, and yes, 3D visuals. Star Fox 64 is kind of like an arcade game. Honestly, it could just be an arcade game. Each run is about 2 hours total. There are different paths you can take depending on your skill. You get ranked for your points and put your name on a leaderboard even though there is nobody else to show off to. It also fits the graphical style of an arcade game. By 1997, home consoles were getting pretty good with graphics, but arcade machines had been there for a while already. In 1993, the same year as Star Fox, Namco released Ridge Racer, an arcade game that looked like this. Spot the difference. Quick, it's really hard to spot. Video games had been in 3D for years, but it took a while to get to the point where you could play a game like this at home. So it's kind of fortuitous that one of the first games to show 3D gameplay with a relatively unimpeded frame rate, with, at the time, high detail, was made to feel like an arcade game. Star Fox 64 holds up. That was kind of the biggest shock of this whole video. I loved playing Star Fox 64. I loved it when I was younger, playing it on Project 64 with unlimited bombs, and I love it now at age 23 with an official recreation of the original N64 controller. Within that controller was one of Star Fox 64's biggest selling points.
This is the Rumble Pack.
The The Rumble Pack, spelled P-A-K, so you know they were serious. A small hunk of plastic with a motor in it. What does it do? Well, it's in the name. This thing shakes.
You'll never defeat Astro!
When you hit something, when an explosion goes off, and especially when you take damage or die.
I actually felt it.
It adds to the immersion. It makes you feel like Fox McCloud. A lesser writer would make a joke about pressing it against your unmentionables, but I, an enlightened writer, will instead lampshade it and tell you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hype the video on mobile. The story is very simple. Not bad, mind you, it's just not really there. You get a quick prologue that sets up the story, and the narrative progresses as you go, but there's just not much in the way of storytelling. And fun quiz time! How long is the total time of all of the spoken dialogue in the game? Options are on screen, guess right now! The answer is 25 minutes. 25 whole minutes. This is why the story is so simple. They don't talk. The characters are super one-dimensional, they don't really grow or change as the story goes on, and the characters with the most personality are the main four. Asterisk. Slippy is a mechanic and the most amateur of the team. He messes up often, but if you keep him alive, he can give you the boss's health bar at the end of the mission. Peppy is a longtime friend and former member of Fox's father's former team, and the oldest of the bunch. He teaches you the fancy tricks of the R-Wing and gives you tips on how to fight the mission's boss. Falco is the newest addition to the team and Fox's rival. He constantly tries to one-up Fox and can hold his own pretty well, helping you find secret paths. And then there is Fox McCloud. Fox is... Look, I love Fox. I love him so much. He's great, but he is completely flat. He doesn't grow. He says everything so matter-of-factly.
All aircraft report. We're heading into the asteroids. Sorry to jet, but I'm in a hurry.
He barely emotes aside from when he dies.
I actually felt it.
Maybe the reason he's so utterly unenthused is the fact that fighting them is hard. These bosses don't pull punches, which is great. Bosses have weak points, but getting to them can prove tricky, especially when they're moving around. It's a fun challenge, but not so hard that you're losing all your lives in one go. All of this combines into a kind of perfect gameplay loop, which makes replays exciting. Which is good, since replaying the game is the point. The game wants you to go through all the different levels, do things differently, go for high scores. It feels like a love letter to arcade games of the era. It holds up incredibly well. So why did they make him look like Fantastic Mr. Fox? I just spent however long talking about how great Star Fox 64 is, and how well it holds up, and how awesome the gameplay is, and blah blah blah. But why remake it? 29 years later, didn't even have the decency to release it for the 30th anniversary, Nintendo has released Star Fox, a full remake of Star Fox 64. And when I say full remake, it is the same game. The bosses are the same, the levels are the same, the routes are the same, it is all the same game. You can even play it using the N64 controller. I'm playing it like that right now. It feels as good as playing Star Fox 64 with it, because I am. It is the same game. I cannot stress that enough. I could do a bit where I say everything I said before again, but I respect your time and I don't wish to waste it. So why did they remake Star Fox 64? The answer is quite simple. They remade it for the details. Star Fox 64 was 12 megabytes. Star Fox 2026 is 15 gigabytes. You see all these copies of Star Fox 64 on the screen? Take that number, double it, and that's how many Star Fox 64s can fit in Star Fox 2026. Star Fox is a lot more detailed than 64 was. Everything looks very pretty now. If Star Fox 64 was Nintendo showing off how far games had gone at that point, Star Fox 2026 is showing how far they've gone since then. The main four are particularly detailed, their jackets and ships all customized. Falco's jacket, for example, has a massive patch on on the back, adorning the logo of the gang he ran with before joining Star Fox. The R-Wings all have these little decals on them, warning labels, the name of their engines powering the ship. Haha, super effects, like the 3D chip in the SNES. Ha 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 ha. The first-person view sticks you into the cockpit, the glass stained and scratched, little buttons and levers inside the ship, and blinking lights coinciding with stuff like your bomb count. Even the UI features little details like the ship leaving autopilot or the training sim notifications in the tutorial. They've also completely overhauled the campaign. It's still the same story, but they treat it all with a lot more drama, making it feel even more like a grand sci-fi epic. Instead of watching a two-sentence conversation at the start of each level,
It's about time you showed up, Fox. You're the only hope for our world.
I'll do my best. Andros won't have his way with me.
you get a fully animated debriefing after each mission that then leads into the next course.
We need your help, Star Fox.
Hey there, General. You seem a little on edge.
Andros' invasion has found its way to our doorstep. His forces are laying siege to Corneria as we speak. The Corneria Defense Force is spread too thin. I need your team to get down there and launch a counteroffensive.
That's no small ask, General. But as it happens, my team's available to deploy immediately. For a price.
Andros' forces have already occupied numerous worlds throughout the system. If they take Corneria, then all hope is lost. Save Corneria. Liberate the Lilat system, and you can name your price.
You've got yourself a deal. It's a pleasure doing business with you, General.
Certain lines change depending on what happened in the mission before, so it always feels natural.
You have my condolences, Fox. I understand it's never easy to lose a comrade.
With all due respect, General, you can chew on your condolences. We are a team, and that means no one gets left behind. Look, General, you hired us to do a job, and we will do it. But we'll do it with Slippy at our side. Rob, prep the Landmaster and bring us in low. I want to hit the ground running.
Each member of Star Fox feels alive during these scenes. Falco lays back on the couch, waiting for the next chance to take flight. Slippy's always typing away on a terminal, Peppy is locked into the conversation, and Fox stands stoically, taking the role of leader. The cutscenes are great, as are the performances. Obviously, there is no replicating that particular quality of the original.
I can't believe I lost to this scum!
Sorry to Jet, but I'm in a hurry.
And it's very clear they aren't going for that.
I can't believe I lost to this scum!
Sorry to Jet, but we've got places to be.
The new performances fit well. There are a few, line reads, but that is admittedly just based on the original performers. The music has been recomposed too, and it is maybe my favorite part of the entire experience. Star Fox 64's music is grand, sweeping, dramatic, and exciting, and it's just Star Wars. They just did Star Wars. Koji Kondo and Hajime Wakai were influenced by the works of John Williams, which makes sense. It is meant to be a sort of space opera. Obviously, the N64 had to have limits put on what sort of sounds it could make, but even so, the inspiration bleeds through into the sound regardless. With this rearrangement by Stephen Barton, that inspiration sounds like downright plagiarism. Not literally, just like, listen to the little flourishes after the main theme ends. That's just how the music comes after the opening crawl in a Star Wars movie. Okay, that was a lot of positivity. I really like Star Fox 2026, but there is an elephant I have yet to address.
Elephant green screen effect.
Let's talk about the character designs. I like them, kind of, but it makes sense that people were instantly put off by them.
Oh my god!
Oh, okay.
Why does he look that way?
During the announcement, they play a clip from the Super Mario Galaxy movie, which features Star Fox. And those designs look great, really hitting the blend of cute and cool that the originals had. And then like 3 minutes later, we're looking at this, and I gotta give him credit. It is incredibly bold to make Falco stand like a real bird, but also it is incredibly unsettling to see him stand like a real bird. It looks like his legs are busted. Everyone is just a real animal with humanoid proportions, which they were before too, but like, before they looked like cartoons, now they look like mutants. I do think they look good, despite the ew factor they give off at first. Starwolf, your rivals, look particularly good in my opinion. Wolf looks old and pissed, maybe just focused. Leon is imposing and cunning, Andrew is smug and leering, and Pigma, he is disgusting. Large, slobby, we see him picking his nose and wiping his findings on his jacket. He looks like, well, he looks like a pig. Is it uncanny looking? Perhaps. Is it the most popular choice? Definitely not. But does it fit what the game is going for? I think so, yes. Star Fox has always felt more real compared to Nintendo's other franchises. Star Fox's core gameplay revolves around the R-Wings, these large spaceships that soar around and take damage. The wings break off and your teammates can get so damaged they have to retreat. The stakes of Star Fox are high, mistakes have consequences, so it makes sense that for a game attempting to portray real stakes, the characters would look real too. And sometimes gross. So, Star Fox 2026. The music is exciting, the gameplay is familiar and as fun as ever, and the character designs are a bit odd but fit the game well. All nice things, but we still have yet to fully rationalize the remake. And perhaps, admittedly, the final point I will make will not be the grand answer that will explain it for everybody, but I think it is worth acknowledging. But first...
Open the wing!
In the original game, during the opening to Corneria, the team do a quick roll call to confirm their systems.
Check your G-diffuser system.
Falco says,
Falco here. I'm fine.
like he's kind of annoyed, but he still confirms. And then later in the game, his ship messes up.
Something's wrong with the G-diffuser.
In the original, it feels like he's lying, like there isn't something wrong with it, he just got too big for his britches and is saying his ship is to blame. But in the original Japanese dub, his declaration during the roll call is... implying that he did not take the proper procedure and will soon regret it. And now, in 2026, Falco says...
Falco here. G-diffuser seems fine. Let's go already.
Which now implies he just doesn't care. This is what I think the point of Star Fox 2026 is. To better tell the story of Star Fox. We get a full animated opening of James McCloud's raid on Venom, complete with Pigma's betrayal and James's sacrifice. We see the cast react to how missions ended, we get to hear more about their thoughts and feelings. We get fun moments of characterization, Cat teasing Falco after years of flying with him.
Glad to have your help, Cap.
At least someone is.
Slippy's excitement over all the cool things they're seeing.
Incredible! Do you realize how rare it is to experience a stable warp channel? Did you see the distortions?
That's a lot of words for we found a shortcut.
Out of all the improvements to characterization, Fox is easily the character with the best glow-up. Before, he spoke in simple one-liners or just generic single sentences.
Impressive, Star Fox. Now watch out for enemies in the asteroid field.
I won't let you down, sir.
Now we get to see a whole new angle to Fox in his relationship with his late father. Throughout the game, characters bring up the fact that Fox seems to be following in the footsteps of his father, something he is quick to dismiss, even getting downright cruel over it.
You've got your father's instincts, Fox.
Some good they did him.
It is hard not to see the resemblance of their path, however. Fox and James both briefly worked under the Cornerian military before leaving to escape the bureaucracy. Both formed a mercenary team, including a friend from the academy and a former criminal. And both end up recruited into fighting Andros, one of them being there at the start of the war, and one being there at the end. I think, deep down, Fox refuses to admit the similarities because he fears that he is going down his father's path, because he knows how that path ends. Once he finally gets to Venom, he faces Andros head-on. Andros mocks Fox, telling him that his father died by his hands, and now he would too. Just like James. But Fox pulls through, taking out the Emperor, who attempts to destroy Fox in one final attack.
Don't ever give up, son.
Dad?
James McCloud guides Fox through the base, telling him how proud he is.
You've become strong, Fox.
Fox escapes and James disappears. Was it a mystical force, or was it simply Fox not giving up and trusting his instincts? He doesn't know. Peppy tells him his father would be proud, and, for the first time in the whole game, Fox doesn't deny it.
You know, your father would be proud of you today. Very proud.
I know.
Do you know how crazy that is? Fox got a character arc. Mr.
Sorry to jet, but I'm in a hurry.
Mr.
I'll do my best. Andros won't have his way with me.
Got a story that isn't super deep, but like, he got to grow. He got to experience something that taught him that it's okay to follow the footsteps of his father, that it doesn't mean he isn't his own person. That's cool. Star Fox 2026 is a great remake. It does everything I think a remake should do. It builds on the original, adding quality of life changes and what I consider a vast improvement over the narrative. It's a great showing of what a remake should be. Remakes are everywhere now. In games, movies, TV, taking something old and making it new again is just about the easiest way to make an earning nowadays. A lot of people are against remakes, and I don't blame them. In a lot of ways, remakes are an obvious cash grab, the sign of the lack of creativity and a desire to remind us of the good old days. But I like to be optimistic. Silent Hill 2 perhaps does not simulate the disgust of seeing the original's version of Silent Hill, but it does fill me with a genuine dread I have never felt before in a game, a fear response so immense that sometimes I could not even bring myself to progress. Super Mario RPG doesn't change too much about the original, but it does bring an iconic part of Mario's game catalog and make it easily available to modern audiences. Sometimes a remake can serve a greater purpose, like the rebuilds of Evangelion, the 4-film project that served as the grand finale to the entire series, a send-off that never fails to make me cry. Most of all, a remake can serve as the thing needed to revive a dormant idea. Sometimes the best way to get a ball moving is to set it down at its starting point and see where to push it next. Mercury Steam's Metroid 2 remake would be the stepping stone that led to Metroid Dread, the long-assumed dead 5th entry in the Metroid series. In a way, I think Star Fox 2026 is a repeat of that, the game not being made in-house at Nintendo, but by Valan Studios, an external developer just like Mercury Steam. Maybe this is Nintendo saying, we don't know how to continue Star Fox, so we're gonna give it to a new set of hands to see if they can push it forward. In 1997, Star Fox 64 was one of the first steps towards 3D gaming on home consoles. In 2026, Star Fox is the next step towards something more.